So one of the coolest trends I've been seeing as we've been telling these 50 summer stories of Pittsburgh tech with Comcast has been some of the great companies here in Pittsburgh that are developing really powerful solutions to get us back to work, to be able to track what's going on with the virus, to be able to ensure that when we're going back to work that we can all be safe. And today I'm talking to Kirk Farra. He is from In-Sync Systems, and they got a really cool system called the Sentinel Responder that we're going to talk about today. Very powerful technology. I think everyone needs to know about this stuff because there's so many options out there. We're looking at some of the best. And Kirk, thanks for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate being part of our storytelling this summer because this has been a major theme for us, of course, as we've been going through COVID-19.
Well, thanks for inviting me, and I'm happy to discuss our product and our company and what we've been doing.
Yeah, well, let's just, before we get into the product, I always like people to know a little bit about the company and everything like that. And tell us what you do with the company. What's your role, Kirk, with In-Sync Systems?
I'm the president of In-Sync Systems. Okay. We've been around for over 20 years.
Nice.
I was involved in the startup of the company.
Okay.
Which was always fun because startup companies, hiring people and trying to get things accomplished, and occasionally going home once in a while.
Occasionally, from time. Now you're home all the time, right?
Yeah, now we're home all the time. But so I grew up. I'm local. I grew up in Beaver Falls. Went to Geneva College.
Yeah.
So we've been around developing software for over 20 years, and
I love it. See, that's what's so cool. It's like you're one of these quiet companies, just quietly kicking butt in the background up there in Zelienople, which I think is so cool.
Yep.
As we say here in Pittsburgh, in Zeli, right?
In Zelienople, yes.
Zelienople, absolutely. Very cool, very cool. So yeah, so tell us about some of the key things that In-Sync does. Like you say you develop software. What else do you guys do? What's your specialty?
Well, our specialty is basically building safety software. I mean, our In-Sync RMS product is made for law enforcement, so it's a public safety product. The Sentinel Responder is a community safety product that we're building to hopefully have businesses and organizations deal with this pandemic and be able to get back to work safely.
Absolutely. So yeah, let's kind of like walk through it because I think there's some really neat aspects. It seems like you cover all of the major aspects that you need to cover when it comes to getting people back to work, from tracing, to notifications, and the idea of keeping this safe and secure and anonymous and so forth. Maybe kind of like walk us through like the inspiration of creating this and how it works.
Well, kind of the inspiration was sitting at home when this whole pandemic started.
Yeah,
your wheels start turning, and I was talking to our CTO, and we're like, hey, let's think if there's something we can do to deal with this.
Okay.
So we kind of started brainstorming, together, and then basically when they started putting out reopening guidance, we looked at that and looked at, hey, this is a perfect fit for a software solution. So, we started, sketching out the modules that we thought would, be needed. And we're trying to be comprehensive, right? And not just focus on, one small piece of the pie, but we're trying to
the whole, you kind of give it that umbrella because you need all the pieces. Exactly. Not to rely on someone else to put multiple solutions in, but have one nice, powerful solution you can just put right on top.
Yeah, and we're trying to interface with the devices and the other systems that are, are prevalent out there. So
that's pretty cool. So what was the time? I always love when people are like, I'm going to start sketching this thing out, right? That's so cool. How long from sketching it out to testing it to saying this thing is ready to go on the marketplace?
Oh, we spent a good 2 or 3 months just kind of sketching out capabilities and doing proof of concept. I know my development team is busy, doing some internal QA and getting a MVP product, out there. And we've got, we think we have one organization that may be a beta tester, and that's actually
all right. See, that's that. You need the beta testers. Get it in action, see what's working, see what doesn't work, and start dialing it in, right?
Yeah, so we're going to do that, and we would like to get a few more beta testers because one solution doesn't quite won't fit everybody. I mean, you get somebody in a different organizations and different markets that are going to have completely not completely different needs, but somewhat different needs. So we're trying to get as much coverage as we can.
Absolutely.
But the product basically has 4 modules. Sentinel Responder has a policy management, where the organizations will put in their policies, which kind of drives everything.
Okay.
And when they input those, they can have everybody sign off on the policies. They can update policies, and people get notifications of changes. So the policies kind of drive everything, and that's anything from health policies to cleaning policies to all that kind of stuff is
basically impact the workplace and how it runs every day. So people know that like you got to wear masks this day, or now they've up to saying you can't use this part of the kitchen or something like that. So when that's added, then people get notified through the application, right?
Yeah. And then we've got a monitoring application. We're dealing with, you see a lot of those temperature scanners and facial recognition devices. We're working with some manufacturers of those to do some integration. We're looking to do some integration work with manufacturers of automated door locking systems and security systems. And so that, gets to a little bit of interfacing with the product. And then we've got the health monitor that will monitor all of your policies, and it can also monitor your employees or people that are in your organization to track different things like
if someone comes down or tests positive, then that goes in the system, and people know that someone tested positive. They can alert people that were within a proximity to that person that they need to be tested and so forth, right?
Yep. So those are, and then we're building and going to try to integrate with some of the contact tracing applications that are being built out there too. But we're also going to have kind of a manual process for contact tracing for people or organizations that don't want to deal with phone applications for that stuff.
Okay.
So
is there a sweet size for a size of a company that would benefit most from this? Is it like over 50 people, or it could be as few as 20, or like how's that work?
I think it probably could work for organizations of any size, but we see larger organizations probably having more of a need because it's just so much information that needs to be tracked and people that need to be tracked, and it could be an overwhelming task to do it with pencil and paper and Excel spreadsheets.
Right. So automating, obviously, you can make that all the simpler because there's more people you got to manage and so forth. So how does the app work exactly? So what's the experience? Is it can be used on people's phones, or through their desktops? How do people kind of connect into this?
It's going to be platform independent. So, phones, any kind of mobile device, web application. It's going to be hosted. It could be installed on premise if an organization would rather it not be a hosted application.
That's an interesting point. I'm glad you brought that up, because sometimes people feel better about an application if they're hosting it themselves, and they have more control over the data and so forth that's being generated from it. So that's pretty cool. So either you can bring it in house and you can set it up for them, or they can just use it as you have it set up in the cloud somewhere, huh?
Yeah. So, if you have a device, we're going to have it work on that device.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. And then as far as, is this like a subscription model, or is it like a one-time you buy it and it's yours, or how does that work?
It'll be a subscription model. We're still working on the pricing, but yeah, definitely a subscription model.
Very cool. And so I mentioned before, so now you're still looking for more beta testers. If someone wanted to reach out, is there a certain kind of beta tester that you're looking for right now that would be someone that you really could use to kind of help qualify and so forth?
We would probably, like to talk to anybody and just kind of see if it's a really good fit. I mean, probably, companies that really do have to, go and work together. Manufacturing would probably be, one where we're something where a lot of people do have to come together to actually accomplish things. Unlike our business, we're software, so that we can work remotely.
You can code from home, right?
But some businesses have to get together and have to do things and be on site together. So we think they might be a better target.
Absolutely. And I think one of the important points to bring up here is I think a lot of people feel like, oh, well, at some point, the COVID thing will go away. But I feel like moving forward, this is a system you'd want to have in place all the time because something like this could pop up again. And it's also just a great way to kind of keep people in the know as to what's going on around the office and keeping policy set. So I feel like this is something that COVID or no COVID, this is a type of technology I think a lot of businesses should really be thinking about.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think there's been a lot of lessons learned about, personal hygiene and security and, things like that. So yeah, we definitely see it's going to have a life, after COVID, whenever it does go away.
Right.
Because it's going to be very flexible in what it can do.
Good stuff. I mean, I'm impressed. So in the course of a couple of months, you sketch something out, you get your first beta tester kind of going, and you're looking to get more people testing. I mean, that's some fast moving work. I mean, these are not easy systems to develop, obviously, and bring this to market as quickly as you has, I think really goes to show you, no matter what happens, we've got some great companies out there, some great women and men behind those companies that are going to make stuff work. Simple as that.
Well, we're having fun. It's doing new things and doing things that really, can make a difference in the community is really what we're all about. I mean, public safety, community safety, that's what we're about is service. And that's, I spent, a number of years working for other organizations, and, I really kind of branched out on my own so that, I could be involved in a company that was more service oriented.
Great stuff. And that's why, Kirk, you're making Pittsburgh proud. So we're glad you're here in the region doing what you're doing, because it's companies like yours it's making Pittsburgh just rise above the rest. Simple as that. So glad we got to tell a little bit about your story, about what's going on with Sentinel Responder. And if people want to reach out to you to beta test, can they just email you?
Yep.
And what's your email? And I'll also put it in the liner notes too.
It's Kirk, Kirk, Farra, Farra, at in-synch.com.
Just that simple. I tell people, reach out if you want to try this out. I think it'd be great to get you guys connected as far as that goes. Kirk, you're the best. Comcast, I got to thank them, of course, for allowing us to tell these stories this summer. It's been a great time so far telling stories just like this. This has been Jonathan Kersing with the Pittsburgh Tech Council.